Class, well, or Mr. George, I'm just about to begin my second self-assessment. I'm supposed to talk about how I felt about the class, things I may have learned, authors I may enjoyed. I would have to say, for me personally, my views have not changed, nor was that the goal of the class. The goal of the class for me taking it was so that I could better understand basically where atheists were coming from, because I'm going into the substance abuse era. I want to become a substance abuse counselor in the field of psychology. And in order for me to better understand what an atheist may believe or how they may go about doing things, I learned a lot. And one of the big things I learned is that an atheist, you don't need God to have spirituality. That's a big thing for me. And, that's a big thing for me to have to understand, because when it comes to the processes by which I will need to evaluate people when it comes to their use of abuse of like substances, spirituality is a huge thing, and having some power greater than yourself is a huge thing. And for an atheist, it could be a bunch of other group of alcoholics or drug addicts that they could lean on. It doesn't have to be a spiritual power that we like to call God. Now, for me personally, I still will continue to be a Christian, and I find that actually, for me, my journey has a little bit changed since the class did begin. And actually, I have Sweeney, the movie that we watched, the funny lady who liked to make jokes and basically make a joke of Christianity. I gave me the kind of the courage to also maybe begin to question my faith, and that's what I needed to do. I was raised Catholic, as I said in my first self-assessment, and after getting sober, after having drugs and alcohol out of my system, and seeing that being able to actually have a power greater than myself was really important, because that's where I'm at today. And if it weren't for that higher power, I don't feel I'd be there today. That's my own beliefs, may I add that. Now, here's the thing. I began to question my faith. I began to question my faith as a Catholic, and through searching and through having to find the truth, I have now just begun to become Christian. So, as I said, Sweeney was a huge, kind of a good way for me to be able to have that strength, because I could see that she really questioned things, and it took her a long time to be able to get there, and she wasn't happy with the end result. Am I happy that I'm no longer a Catholic? Not really. That's all I've ever known my whole life. So for me to have to resort to something else, which I just choose to be Christianity itself, is different for me, and it's been a little bit of a journey so far, and it hasn't been the easiest thing, but I'm getting there. And it's definitely been a good opportunity for me to move forward. The second thing that I really enjoyed from this class, and it's actually the last thing I enjoyed, is when we went over tolerance. We went over the tolerance of diverse viewpoints. Tolerance has definitely many different viewpoints, and the way we can go about tolerance. I'm using my notes here, so I might not be able to either, whatever. So I love the concept that tolerance presupposes pluralism, diversity, and disagreement. That we have two choices: we can be silent, or we can openly criticize such views. And I definitely learned a lot from that. Not on the side so much of just like having to how do I describe this? I feel that this was one part of the course that didn't touch so much on atheism itself, that didn't really disprove that there was no God. I really thought that this was something that I could connect with the class, because I'll be honest with you, there was a lot of things from the class that I could not connect with, being a believer. I just kind of had to sit there and just try to understand. As I said, the one part that I did connect with was the spirituality sense, that there doesn't need to be God to be to have spirituality. But when it comes to tolerance itself, I think it's awesome, because there was one part in it. Here, let me find it real quick. It says it had said in like the handout that we were given. It says, to tolerate is to allow what is not actually approved. and it implies a negative judgment, and you kind of wish it wasn't there. But tolerance is more about acceptance, and it actually implies approval. We are just as good as we are, just different. What is being tolerant must be relevant to one's life in some way. To treat tolerance as the equivalent of putting up with is to ignore the distinction between morally significant and morally insignificant differences. And that's where I'm seeing, a lot of like my different viewpoints changing when it comes to, let's say, an atheist, because in the past I shunned them away. And now I like to have conversations with them and discuss things and actually like get to know them better than I sometimes even get to know myself. I mean, it's really interesting how many, I've seen that there's actually more similarities in atheism and religion than there are actually differences. And that's what I really got out of this course. And I definitely thought that that was going to be totally different. I thought that, let's just put it this way, my assumptions going into the class weren't the most positive, but I ended up having a great outcome, and not only for myself, but for others in the future. When I do get to my profession, I'll possibly be able to actually understand more of what these people are going through, rather than shunning them away just because they might not believe in what I believe in. And that's where the tolerance comes in, is I can be more tolerant. And what tolerance really is acceptance of what they might believe or what they might be going through. So anyways, I really hope you enjoyed my self-assessment. As I said, definitely enjoyed taking the class. I definitely, at times, even though I may have felt a little bored, I definitely could walk away from each class knowing that I learned something new, because it was all foreign to me. And, I definitely am very thankful for that. So hope you enjoyed my self-assessment, and yeah, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you. Well, I hope you have a good summer. Anyway, bye-bye.